Day 200 for the cut, in a much better spot than we were last Monday, because not only do we have a functioning camera so that we can vlog, shoulder feels way better and I feel way less dead. And a big part of that can be attributed to doing a better job of keeping things in the pocket for my current state of recovery on the Saturday squats. And with this being a new wave, we're gonna shift things around a little bit just to make sure I don't die before the cut is over. I don't know why I was on the treadmill for that shot. I mostly just wanted to try it. Very smooth, like everything else Panada in here is. But big changes I'm gonna be making to the Monday pressing day, as well as the Thursday pressing day, is number one, only gonna run 3 cranked movement slots. I'm gonna trade some things from Thursday over to Monday, some things from Monday over to Thursday, just to spread out the overhead horizontal press volume a little bit, just so that I'm not totally smashing the shit out of everything on one given day. So hopefully that makes me feel better on the next week. That is the plan, at least. And immediate plan for bench is just to feel out the shoulder situation, make sure that we are good to go. If the shoulder does still feel a little bit sketchy, I will keep today a bit toned down just for the sake of being able to push appropriately when the cut is done, but we'll find out how she's feeling now. I think we're feeling pretty good to go. And big thing that was missing last week on bench was my serratus was not in the party at all, so left side was really freaking saggy, which made it much harder to feel solid and made it much harder to make the shoulder feel good. So priority today is being less saggy than I was on that first set. What I need to think about to make that happen is when I'm setting up, I really need to do a better job of trying to scoop the scaps down and like tag, low trap, and lat to get them down, then finish with a little bit of protraction up into the bar before I do that pull out. So we're gonna do a better job of that here. Also figure we should set the tone to start taking adult jumps, so straight to 2 reds. We are so back. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because I haven't loaded work sets yet, but this feeling this good right now is very freaking promising and goes to show that a tweak doesn't have to be the end of the world, because last week I was in pretty immense pain on Monday and it feels like totally fine today. And the reason I never really like talking about injury or pain in my vlogs on a personal level is every time that I do have a tweak, there's always some dipshit in the comments that wants to whine about how I don't know what I'm doing and they want to act like it's going to be my downfall and the end of the world. But the thing is that in powerlifting, you can't really escape things going sideways. Like, no matter how perfect your program is, no matter what's going on, you're going to catch a ding here and there. And the thing is that if you know how to handle a ding, you don't got to be afraid of it. You just got to handle it. So that's what we're doing here. So 290 on the bar next. Okay, big lat and serratus scoop. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yes. Yep. Left side.
And as of now, feeling like the shoulder pain problem is pretty damn solved. So 325 top set, we're gonna be going for some bonus reps. And what's gonna make this set fun is, even if 325 is a little bit sad for a top set, knowing that with how I felt last week, there would be a lot of dudes that would not be pressing this the week after feeling like it did last week. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
Just going. Don't change anything.
Is that 11?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
Check.
he was gonna go
Yeah,
for
11.
And so much of being a good lifter isn't just not quitting and not giving in when adversity hits. It's knowing exactly what to do about that adversity so you don't get stuck spinning your wheels. And Chad here, when he first joined the team, his training was so limited by SI joint pain that squatting and deadlifting 50% felt almost impossible. But we figured it out. Chad put in the work to build up the hip rotation, build up the hip strength, and build up the torso strength necessary to get things rolling again. So if you are sick of feeling stuck in your training or just want to make better progress than you ever have before, hit link below, join the team, because you're going to be getting individualized coaching on every single thing that you're doing on a daily basis so that we can make sure that you are doing what you need to be the best lifter that you can be.
Confirmed in the app that was a PR, which means that shoulder tweak is absolutely solved. I think the coolest thing for me is until I ran out of gas, which is very reasonable considering the carbohydrate solution, felt really freaking strong, which I think is very promising considering how low things are, and it makes me even more excited for when the food finally does come back in. And as I was saying, moving stuff around a little bit, running the machine overhead in this slot here today so that we can run the dumbbells on the Thursday and spread things out a little bit better workload wise on the real overhead press bench here. So hopefully that makes the nerds happier. And I will say that the angle does make it feel a little bit more harder. So hopefully 2 plates doesn't catch me by surprise. Think we're keeping her there for another set because that was much more difficult. Which I mean, for the sake of building more, less small delts, probably isn't going to be a bad thing. Because now that we know what to expect, we're going to try to lock in a little better and do a little bit less bad. Elbow hit the safety, which didn't feel great. There we go. Cleared it. Was debating going for the other rep, but like my elbow digging that thing every time made it a little bit unnerving. So I think next time we run this bench on here, we get a spotter instead of putting the safeties up so we can do a little bit better without the added distraction. Good news is though that shoulders are feeling quite engorged off of that, which means it's now time to cook something hard triceps wise. And my original plan was to have the 0 to 90 in that Max Pump Smith so I could run the overhead straight into an Incline JM. But considering the shortage of 0 to 90s in here right now, we're just going to run a real Incline JM, which I mean will probably be better for me anyways. So we'll be okay if we can get out of this really awkward unrack height. Definitely going to need Durrell for a handoff for work sets. Didn't die though, so going 185. He is on the other side of the gym, so we'll do our best to not die here as well. gonna grab a handoff for sure and go 225. Yeah, not risking our life here again, so hopefully we get more than one here. 1, 2, 3. That was so nice. Sick. Yeah, better than expected. And running JM presses on an incline bench, I really like it because it makes the groove so much more intuitive to keep the elbows high and just fold at the elbow, make it entirely triceps, versus one to drop the elbows too low and just turn it into a shitty range of motion close grip bench. Durrell showed up way sooner than I was expecting, so rest time is shorter than I anticipated, but we'll just suck it up and chug. 1, 2, 3. Do you feel the oscillation in the bar? This thing is so flimsy. Would not want to actually bench on it.
Yeah, finish up. Even though this wasn't turning, all I can feel.
Yeah, it's just like shaking, chattering.
This
It is.
is dog shit.
Yeah, next time we do this, I might have to get my power bar out from the back. And for some pec touching in the absence of the wide grip presses today, we're gonna run the world's heaviest feeling pec deck. Gonna be a little bit load responsible, drives rep higher just so we're not jacking anything up, and do our best to make stuff feel good. Make sure that serratus is pushing through hard at the top, and we'll probably go up a little bit because this is pretty light, but still gonna stay responsible. We'll do enough reps that it gets hard before we go up though. Also need to not put the camera in the middle of the hallway, but I'm not sure where else to film this setup. I've done way too many reps here. Probably haven't shown the entire set, but it's finally almost getting hard. Yeah, we're definitely taking another jump just so the next set doesn't have to last for 20 minutes, but we're taking a responsible jump because the difference in weight on this machine to make it go from like it's really hard on the pecs to it feels like my pec is actually gonna rip off again, pretty minuscule amount, so we'll see how this one feels. And like the cool thing about this pec deck versus others is the strength curve gets really gnarly in the bottom, which is a good thing and a bad thing because I do need to challenge that stretch position, but I also don't want it to get too sketchy, especially with the shoulder feels this last week, so we're taking her easy, making her smooth, made her controlled, getting a freaking ginormous pump, so it'll do the job. Yeah, that got nasty. So mission freaking accomplished, and now to continue loading stuff where stuff feels a little bit vulnerable, gonna be jamming on some PJR pullovers for triceps part 2, which is basically a tricep extension in the pullover position. And logic behind this is if shit got tweaky on that machine pullover, I probably should start exposing that position a little bit more than I have been. I should take my hat off for the next set, or spin it around. And like I was thinking going into this, that 75 would be like a feeler set. 75 ended up being much harder than I wanted, so we'll stay here for what is going to be work set number 2. With a backwards hat, so hopefully she's less awkward. Probably going to lose that. Oh well. And if it isn't obvious, range of motion in the bottom is looking pretty sad there, but that is kind of why we're doing it, to get that range and that control to be a little bit less pathetic in the near future. And next up, machine side raises, which I'm really excited for because we've now got the Panada version of the side raise machine, which is way heavier than I was expecting, so we will have to drop this down a little bit. I'm used to assuming that I can just like walk up to any machine that someone else was using and be able to do what they were doing pretty easily, but apparently that is not the case for side raises, which kind of makes sense with the state of my deltoid, so we'll have to crank. This is definitely more bottom end heavy than the maximum version as well, which kind of makes sense with how hard that initial try felt, so we'll go up a little bit, probably not to where we had it before though. But we still have a lot of reps left here before we have enough of a pump to finish the set, so we'll chug them out. There were many more reps in that set than would appear on the vlog because I stumbled my words like 7 times during the set when I was trying to talk, so we cut a good chunk of it out. Back to the original weight that kicked my ass, so hopefully the extended warm-up set got us ready for it. Yeah, it feels much more manageable here. And the strength curve kind of makes more sense. Now there's more weight on it as well. I think we got another jump in the tank, which would make me feel pretty good about myself, except for the fact that there is some gym bro working in me right now that's doing like 40 more pounds of the sack. So yeah, we gotta crank delts a little bit harder than we are right now. So another little step up. Gotta remember to try out of the bottom. I think I'm getting the hang of it though. Like it's feeling way better than it did before. Still needs a lot of work though. Speaking of needing some work, I've been jamming on a lot of like the widthy stuff for lats because, well, I'm lacking lat width. But with that, I feel like I'm missing a little bit of like right up next to the spine when I am benching. So running neutral close grip to tag a little bit more of that sensation. We'll have to put more on though because this is pretty light. Warm-up sets never hurt anyone, right? Also, a little bit unsure about this handle. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's kind of like a mag grip knockoff where the palm portion extends really deep and it's almost too long to feel like I'm able to get a solid grip on it. So, I don't know. We'll make it work. And we'll go up again for next work set. Full stack, so big chug. But even with all of the fancy pull-down machines in here, like I still appreciate classic cable pull-down because the advantage of this compared to a lot of those machines is a lot of those machines lighten up at the top, so you're not getting a ton of loading in the stretched position. And I'm not worried about that for the sake of stretch median hypertrophy or being a nerd. I'm worried about that because I want to make that length of position more resilient so that my shoulders get more stronger where they are currently vulnerable. So cable pull down is the ticket right now. It's fun being light enough that doing the full stack like lifts me up when I'm done the set and it makes me kind of feel good about my current circumstances. There's too many options to grab. Yeah, go narrow. And Nana and Darrell are sucking me into trying this thing. Apparently it feels, oh wow, that is magical on the upper back. Okay, I'm sold. Like,
nice, right?
yeah.
It's funny how after the first rep you can feel what we're talking about.
Like, so much freaking trap and Rob Boyd. And when we're trying this, I was a little bit worried that like running a bent over row would kind of cook mid back for deadlifts, but this is so upper backy and you don't need a ton of weight on to get a really good feel, so we'll run another set. We were just talking, like the feel on this does not make sense at all, because like I've never had anything come close to touching upper back in this way. Definitely not complaining, but those of you watching, it probably looks a little bit stupid, but does not feel stupid at all. We are keeping this in the extra slot for sure. And like, it just burns out with such little weight that, yeah, this is fun. and to continue the upper backage, we're gonna give this guy a try, which apparently we need more weight than empty on to make it work.
That surprised me.
Yeah, I'll just try this just to see. Don't want to be too brave on a brand new machine and have a repeat of the pullover fiasco. Well, that's weird.
Nice.
It's like the rollers are hung up on my triceps. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm too stupid because it's like getting stuck on like the muscle. Yeah. And based on that not feeling like I wanted it to, we're gonna remember what I remembered last week, which is that low to high on the cable rear delt feels freaking sick. Make sure we're stepped back appropriately. Oh yeah. That is everything I wanted. Gonna toss one more pin on the stack. And what's so funny is that this is probably the first time in my entire training career that I've actually been able to use a cable crossover machine 2 weeks in a row, because like most gyms are always freaking occupied, but here has so many cable crossover machines plus so much other shit that the cable crossovers, there's at least one that's always open, so we're gonna continue taking advantage of it. And I guess that means we're gonna find out if this was too aggressive of a jump or not. Aggressive, yes, but probably appropriate for a top set. And I mean, yeah, maybe a little bit aggressive, but there is always next week to do better on it. And they've got a bunch of new Panada arm shit in here, and generally confused by the looks of this machine, so we're gonna give it a try. I mean, I shouldn't be that confused because it is just a biceps curl. And feels very nice, so we're gonna keep trying it for more weight because this is too light to be a work set, but I think we're gonna be good to go up for sure. A couple more reps. Get that feeler pump going. Yeah, we're gonna do work sets here. Pretty aggressive jump, so hopefully don't rip the biceps off. Oh, that's, yeah, we're good. This thing is nice. Like, the more weight you put on it, the better it feels. In my experiment thus far. Yeah, I don't have any excuse to not train arms anymore. A little more aggressive for work set number 2. Yeah, this thing feels good. And like all the Panada stuff I've tried so far, like it's so weird because it doesn't make sense how good it feels. Like it's just so smooth, and the strength curve is almost perfect, other than that rear delt contraption that we did not use, but very okay with this as a curl variation. And what is neat is I think it also goes triceps mode. It's going to try this just to see if there's any potential here as a push down. I think there's potential here to run as my push down variation this week as well, so we will keep that in mind. Next up, given this contraption a whirl, and I actually really like the hammer strength version of this machine. I like this much more on initial review. We'll need to put a little bit more weight on it as well, but feels good. A couple more than we'll get lefty. Probably could afford to drop the seat down as well, but we'll get there when we get there. Yeah, arms are not going to be small anymore. Picked the right gym for the objective. Okay, seat knocked down a couple holes. Weight stack up a couple holes. Let's crank. I hope you could tell by my facial expression how nice this is. Oh, that's a good feel. Am so stoked right now. Yeah, we're growing arms. Travis better watch out. Man, oh man. Update, asked Mike how to set up on the rear delt thingy-mabobber. Turns out we're all just idiots because doing it his way feels way better, so we will remember that for the next session. Anyways, back over here for round 2. Might get adventurous and try it bilaterally because there's more room than the hammer strength. Oh yeah, this is sick. Yeah, we are undoubtedly going to grow some arms here. And finishing up here with what has become a Monday staple, twisty twist machine with the full stack loaded up because we got to get stronger somehow. So yeah, let's crank on her. That is quite aggressive, but I'm here for it. Because it's like, even if I have been made painfully aware that Rex Abdominis is more the limiting factor right now, we are still running GHR setups at home every day, post-cardio, with just body weight, loading them on the other training days. So it'll be good to still do some oblique touching. This is a very hard movement to talk while doing a FYI. And I know I've been saying this at the end of almost every vlog as of late, but I could not be more stoked with how the session went, and it's especially relevant today with how not good last week's press sessions went, partially due to being a little bit overcooked, how I was feeling, but also because of the shoulder pain. And I think the big thing to remember is, for a training session to be defined as good, we also need to have training sessions that are defined as bad in order for the good to have meaning. And if we can do our job during those bad sessions, that is what is going to let those good sessions happen and make those good sessions be more rewarding. Because, yeah, sure, I could have rolled over last week and done nothing. I mean, I was pretty close to doing nothing on that overhead day, but we put in the work necessary to get myself feeling good enough to make today good. And because I put in the work necessary to make today good, it makes today's session have all that much more meaning, because I put an effort to allow it to happen. And what you guys need to remember, if you're going through a session that doesn't feel great, is if you do what is necessary during that session, and what is necessary in the circumstance of last week might mean pulling back a little bit to let your next week be better, you just got to remember that you're doing the right thing to let that next session be better, and it's going to make that bad session easier to get through mentally, and it's going to make the next session be a little bit easier to turn into a good one. And I think that's what I got for today, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Peace out. Have a good rest of your night, and I will see you in the team.